Everton's titanic effort in the FA Cup against Spurs early in the week take too much out of them? Everton 0, Fulham 2.
You have to do better, of course. We lost a lot of games, too much at home, not having a good performance like tonight.
Calvert-Lewin past the goalkeeper, an equaliser in stoppage time for Everton.
Most important is to reach the position in Europe. For the stability, of course, for the happiness.
And Gundogan has it and has scored a wonderful goal for Manchester City. It's 3-0.
In February, nobody's champion, nobody will be champion. In March, no one. Game by game.
City are on the front foot again, brought down by Jesus. Volleys it in for 3. Manchester City running away with it.
Every single game has his own character, brings his own challenge with it, and that's why it's just difficult in every single game.
Yes, a huge game in the Premier League tonight. Manchester City will travel to Everton, and it's a game you can hear live and exclusive on TalkSport. That is an 8:15 kickoff. Myself and Perry Groves will be taking your calls as soon as the final whistle goes. Let's go and get a Toffee's angle from this. From the Toffee's Blues Everton podcast, I'm glad to say good morning to Terry McAllister. Terry, good morning, matey.
Morning, lads.
Good morning, Tel.
Terry, what a funny club you support right now. There was a time. I know I've sympathised with you because we all our clubs at times go through inconsistent performances and results. But I've got to tell you right now, I think Everton are as inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get as anyone in the league.
No, I mean that's not a recent thing either. It seems to be whenever there's a chance to really make a big step or make a big statement in the table, we sort of go within ourselves and don't turn up for the game. I think we've done that again against Fulham.
Terry, you mentioned the Fulham game there, and I know that managers have to rest players because of the situation we're in, but were you surprised that he left your two best centre-halves out? That really thought was a strange one.
I wasn't surprised that he rotated them. I was surprised it didn't work better than it did, because he's rotating the squad quite a lot at the minute, which a lot of managers are. And the 4 senior centre-backs we've got seem to be in his, group of trusted players. So they're getting a lot of game time, a lot of minutes at different areas of the pitch. But I thought it'd do a lot better than it did. They didn't work as a partnership at all.
Yeah, but I thought you might leave one out. Do you know what I mean? With one of the younger centre Holgate and Godfrey, wasn't it, who played centre half? So, and Jason, I tell you, centre halves don't run around. They don't get tired.
Whoa!
They don't get tired. You don't get tired.
I beg to differ. Ben Godfrey runs around quite a lot. But yeah, you're right. It didn't work, did it? And I don't think it was a good move on him in hindsight. But it's one of those things. Fulham were full value for the win. He turned up and worked a lot harder than Everton and got the points.
What surprised me, Terry, was the lack of real zip. And I thought Fulham were excellent and thoroughly deserved to win. But how passive Everton were, sitting off, allowing play to be dictated to from the middle of the park. Clearly, Richarlison doesn't look comfortable as a number 9. You had Josh King on the bench. I'm surprised perhaps he didn't come a little bit earlier or maybe even started. But it was how passive Everton were. How I know he had a tough game midweek, but to allow a side that's probably going to possibly get relegated to do that in your own patch, I was really surprised at.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say I was surprised, but I really wasn't, because there's sort of there's a 5-minute test you can do with Everton, and we haven't seemed to get over this problem where if you watch the first 5 minutes of any Everton game, you can tell what type of performance they're going to give the rest of the game. They can either be the good Everton where they're on it and they're all, there's real intent and energy, or they can be the one that turns up against Fulham, which is just slow, passing it around the back, don't seem to have any ideas, and it's sort of Jekyll and Hyde. It's one or the other at the minute.
But the thing is, your home record ain't great, is it? You've only won 4, I think, in the Premier League. So against this Man City team, your lot better be at it in the first 5 minutes, because you've got to you have to close down that. It's one of these ones where you go, right, off the ball, we have got to work and disrupt their rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that, in a weird way, might suit Everton, because that without the fans, there's no pressure to play like a home team. I think we've been playing against some of the lesser teams, thinking we can just walk all over them at home, and it hasn't worked out like that. Whereas Man City, they're so good that there'll be no question about Everton will approach this game like they're an away team. They'll know that Man City are going to have most of the ball, and they'll set up accordingly and try and counter that. Now, that I suppose every team goes against Man City thinking that, and it very rarely works, but I think that's the only approach you can have.
Terry, look, appreciate your time, matey. Thank you very much. Can you give us a quick score prediction, please?
I'm going to be hopeful and say 1-1.
1-1.
That means he thinks they get beat.
Yeah.
when you think your team's going to draw.
Listen, thanks for your time,
Cheers,
Terry.
Tel.
Good luck, buddy. That was Terry McAllister from the Toffees Blues Everton podcast.